Hey y'all, come on up in the house. Come on up in the house. Come on up in the house. I think y'all need my song today. I'm gonna wait for more people to get here so I can sing it for you. Yes. Hey Erica. Hey Lawrence. I'm gonna sing it for you today. Come on in the Lord's house. He shall come to love. Come on up in the Lord's house. He shall come to love. Come on up in the Lord's house. He shall come to love. Robo shanda, he bobo shai, come to love. Oh yes. Oh y'all, I'm gonna be honest. Let me tell y'all. With my leg, I've been getting so much good news and it has been healing really quickly. I've been singing my song and Tramel been laughing at me because I said, I don't care, that's my praise and worship song. And ever since I've been singing it, I've been being blessed. I said, so you can say what you want. That's my little praise and worship song. Hey, Monica, that's my little praise and worship song, child. Yes. Oh, y'all, I had my last. I'm late today because I just finished my last physical therapy session. So I go to I forgot what you call the doctor, on the 19th to check my leg out. I actually made real good progress. I was driving this weekend. I was walking around when we went out Saturday. I can actually walk without the walker. She doesn't want me to because she wants me to, just in case I lose my balance, I have the walker. But I actually can walk without the walker, which is a great thing. Hey, Gabrielle, which is a great thing because according to the doctors, I wasn't going to be able to walk until November, December. And it's only been a couple of weeks and I can walk. And I did my little exercises, and she could tell that my leg is much stronger than it was. Of course, I couldn't even do them when I first came home, to be honest with you. So that's just the update on my knee. It's healing absolutely great. It still has some swelling, so that's why I have to go to the doctor to see if they can give me something to get rid of it, or at least see why it's still swollen around my knee, because the swelling is kind of prohibiting some of the movement. So other than that, my leg is doing great. I'm doing great. I cannot complain. And if I could, there would be no reason to. Can y'all hear me perfectly well? Just put a thumbs up or a one in the chat if you can hear me good. Because for some reason, I have a feeling y'all can't hear me. But nobody said they couldn't hear me, so we good. Yes, y'all. So this weekend, I don't know, those of you that are on my Facebook, y'all saw me say Tramel got me a little surprise because you guys, there's a lot that has been going on with us. Nothing bad with us, but just things we've been going through and a lot of changes we had to make. And thank you, Lawrence. A lot of changes we had to make. You know, sometimes you don't agree with some things that are happening in your life, but they happen for a reason and for a bigger purpose. And at the time, you don't see it that way, but then as things progress, you be like, "Yeah, I did the right thing." So we went through that. So because we went through something like that, and we just haven't told y'all yet, um, because it's kind of sad. We just haven't told y'all yet. Um, but in all my sadness, Tramel brought me happiness. My husband loves me, y'all. I have to say that he really, really does. And I love him too. Y'all know that. But Tremel really, really loves me, and Tremel really, really wants my happiness. And that's the part that I love the most, is that he really wants me to genuinely be happy. Hey, Brenda, is that he really genuinely wants me to be happy. So, shout out to my hubby for that. Of course, he's at work today. He's off tomorrow, but he has a doctor's appointment, so he may go live. Well, he ain't going live before the doctor's appointment unless we do a car conversations, because his doctor's appointment is early in the morning. But he may go live when he comes home. Erica, he does. He really, really does. And he knows my heart was broken. I mean, broken. I mean, broken. And this weekend, he fixed it. I'm not that it fixed, because when your heart is broken over something, it never really, like, it's a replacement, but it's not. I, eh, I don't know how to explain it because y'all don't know what it is. Like I said, we are going to tell you guys, but we just don't know how to tell you guys, because we know a lot of you are probably going to be heartbroken as much as we were. Um, I know. I mean, hey, Brenda, and he's just like amazed at how he's like, so he was like, I'm so proud of you. I said, what? He said, you really are doing what they told you to do, and I'm just amazed at how much you have improved, and that you can actually walk, and that you don't complain about nothing. You just sit back and just do what you're supposed to do. And honestly, like I said, with this, I had no choice but to do what they told me to do, because if I tried to walk, or if, well, first of all, it was no trying, because when I tell you, even if I wanted to in the beginning, it wasn't happening. It just was not happening. Because I remember the first time they made me stand up in the hospital, and the guy held me up, and I wanted to punch him in his fucking face. And that's the only way I can say it, because the amount of pain in my knee, and I wasn't even really standing on my foot, but just the blood rushing down from my thigh to my knee. I wanted to beat him like a stranger in the street, and he wouldn't let me go. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, oh my God, I've never experienced that much pain in my life. So honestly, for me to walk right now, like today, I was just like, thank you, God. I was like, sometimes I, sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I should be more blessed than I am. But then when it comes to things like this, all I could do is thank God for all the small and little things, big and small things, I should say, that He does for me, because He blesses me when I need Him the most. You know how that saying goes. There's a difference between needing something and wanting something. And a lot of times when I feel I'm not blessed, it's just because of the things I want. But when He shows out and shows me how blessed I am, it's because of the things that I need. And you can't be mad at that. You can't be mad at that. So, you know, yes, Brenda, it's definitely the power of prayers. And even though my grandmother gone, that was a praying woman, and I'm sure her prayers for me are still lingering around in heaven, and my mama too. Oh, I know they are, because I'm blessed. I'm really blessed. Yes, y'all. So today, you know what I want to talk about, y'all? That I didn't talk about last week. I want to talk about, and I want to know what y'all think. So please feel free to type in the chat, because I'm gonna look at the comments, and I'm gonna see what y'all think and say. Let's talk about Kelly Price. Let's talk about this Kelly Price situation. Now, I don't know how many of y'all know really what happened, but I'll tell y'all, and then we can go from there. For those of you that don't know, Kelly Price actually caught COVID She was in the hospital. She was on a respirator, and she wasn't doing all that great. The next thing you know, she's out of the hospital. Allegedly, she went home. And then allegedly, people were harassing her at her home, knocking on her door, leaving things at her door for her. And it was annoying because she was trying to rest. So she packed up and went someplace else. Now, in the process of her doing this, allegedly, she didn't tell her kids. She didn't tell her sister. The only person that knew where she was her husband. And he was with her because he ended up catching COVID from her. So he's sick too. So she said her husband was taking care of her via, you know how now the doctors, you don't have to go to the doctor. They'll do like a Zoom call and kind of examine you through the Zoom and tell you what to do. So that's what she claims, allegedly, her doctor was doing, and he was taking care of her. But again, he caught COVID as well. So if he caught COVID, my question is, how was he even able to really give her the care that she needed? Hey, Yoga with Mo. How was she really able to get the care that she needed? Did you say who's Kelly Price? Oh, she's a great singer. She used to be Mariah Carey's background singer. Then she came out with her own album. Her hit song was, her breakout song was He Was a Friend of Mine. And then she remade Shirley Murdoch's As We Lay. She's a great singer. She can sing. And after she sang secular music, she started singing gospel music. I'm not sure about her gospel music genre because I mean, it's just certain songs I listen when it comes to gospel music because I actually like old time get up, make you shout gospel music. I'm not into like Kirk Franklin and all this new stuff, to be honest with you. I like that old school in church. You sitting there and like your feet just start going because you want to get up and shout because they just getting into the song. That's the kind of gospel music I like. So like all slow music, and I'm not. That's just not me. Even though growing up in church, that's what they wanted me to do because I could sing. I wanted to sing. I wanted to get up and be bad and dance and gyrate and shake my ass. Hey, Reese Cup. So that is what I wanted. But Kelly Price is a very good singer. So again, since she disappeared, her sister put out, missing persons with the police. They went to her house. Nobody was there because, like I said, she said she left because she was being annoyed, which is understandable if you're trying to heal and get better and people know where you live and they just keep coming knocking on your door, ringing your doorbell. Even though they were being nice, leaving stuff, it can be overwhelming. It can. People can be overwhelming because, like, sometimes I used to hear stories about stars being rude and nasty. And in my mind, I'm like, well, these are your fans. Why are you rude and nasty with them? And then I actually had the privilege to hang out with Tisha Campbell and Dwayne Martin. And it was weird because nobody knew who Dwayne was. And his show was on that he had with Lisa Ray. Nobody knew who he was, but everybody knew who Tisha was from Martin and from my wife and kids. And I found it disgusting that she was sitting we were in a restaurant and she's sitting there trying to enjoy her food and people would not leave her alone. People just kept, oh, can I have a picture? Oh my God, you're Gina from Martin. Oh my God, please, can we have a picture? And I'm like, damn, leave her alone. She's eating. Like, at least don't be rude. Wait till she finished eating, or you should have approached her before her food came. And like people just don't care. They just see you, and because you're a celebrity, like you're supposed to stop what you're doing to, entertain them and give them what they want. She was very nice to everybody. She didn't complain. She wasn't nasty or nothing. But for me, I'm like, okay, this is why some like Whitney Houston and the rest of them curse people out because it's like, damn, I'm eating. Like, leave me alone. I get it. I get it because we have to remember that they are people too. They, you know, yes, they're celebrities, but at the same time, we have to understand that they are people too. They want to go out and enjoy themselves just like we do. And I wouldn't want to be sitting down eating and every 5 minutes somebody, who can I take a picture? Who can I take a picture? By the time she finished, her food was cold. She didn't even finish her food because people kept trying to, you know, interrupt her to get pictures and stuff. So, it was, I get it. Well, being able to see it for myself, I get why celebrities like that. But when it comes to Kelly Price, if you saw her on R&B Divas, she just really wasn't a nice person. She wasn't. She wasn't a nice person at all. She was very nasty to people on her level. She was very nasty to the other divas. She just was she just was not somebody I'd want to know. She's not somebody that I would want in my circle because I know her and I would curse her out, or I would curse her so far out that it wouldn't even be funny. And if she was a man, I would have hit her. But that's neither here nor there. But I know just from her attitude on R&B Divas. Now, if she just did that for TV, it wasn't a good look for her. But if she's really that person that she portrayed herself to be on R&B Divas, there's no way in hell that she would be a friend of mine. Absolutely not. So, her running away from people, knocking on her door and stuff, that's right up her alley from what she gave on R&B Divas. But my question is, do you guys think, right, Reese Cup, because R&B Divas, she was very rude on R&B Divas, and I think now, I feel like this. If you want to get away from everybody, get away from everybody. But if your kids don't know where you are and your family don't know where you are and they're calling TMZ and putting up missing persons on you, you can't get mad at them because they don't know where you at. Now let her tell it. They knew exactly where she was. They knew she was fine. And she ain't talked to her sister in over a year anyway. According to her sister, because I saw an interview with her sister was like, we text every week. She didn't make it like they had a fantastic relationship or nothing. She just said she heard from her sister all the time. And it's just her and her sister because I think her mother died and her grandmother died recently. So it's just them. And I get it because I'm in that same boat. It's just me and my sister. So if my sister disappeared, like, hello, please, my sister's missing. And the last person that she was with was her husband. And nowadays, you can't take that lightly, child, because when a woman is missing and the last person she been with is her husband, you 9 times out of 10, the husband done did something to her. So I just think that the whole thing got blown out of proportion. I think I really don't believe she told nobody. I think she picked up and left her house and went somewhere and didn't tell nobody where she was at. She felt because her kids was, I think her youngest is like 27 or 29, from what they said. She figured she grown, she don't need to know where I'm at either. And when they did what they did, you could tell when she did the interview about that she was fine, that she had a little attitude. Like, I'm only doing this to stop all y'all for looking for me. Like, I think she had a little attitude. Then the brat, let's talk about her. She gets mad at everybody that's saying they spoke to Kelly and Kelly is okay. But she did the same thing. She went live and made a video and said she spoke to Kelly. Kelly was okay. Stop looking for her. She fine. Allegedly, there's more to the story, especially based on what people are saying, that there's more to the story and they'll let Kelly tell it, which I'm sure there's more to the story. Don't nobody just pick up and go hiding just because. I mean, I get that you want to be in a peaceful, comfortable environment to heal. But at the same time, you not telling nobody where you at is a whole nother thing. Right, Brenda? At least tell your kid. At least tell your child. If you don't want to tell, but according to her, she did. According to her, her sister and her daughter, I think it's her daughter, knew where she was. According to her. According to them, they didn't know where the hell she was. And I believe them. I really do. I believe them. I don't believe her. And again, I don't believe her because of the nasty little attitude she had on R&B Divas. I don't. And it's just the whole thing, I think, is like blown out of proportion. I think she never thought that her sister would go to TMZ and it would become as big of an issue that it was. And when it got blown out of proportion, she had no choice but to come forth and say, I'm okay. And see, here I am, and blah, 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 blah. Because the lawyer said her lawyer reached out to people and said she was fine. But nobody wanted to believe the lawyer because they said, well, until we see Kelly and we hear Kelly say she's fine, we don't believe she's fine, which is true. I don't, what, just because somebody made a call to the lawyer and said, I don't know, Kelly made a call. It could have been anybody. And, then she made the video with TMZ, and then everybody started, oh, I talked to Kelly Price. Oh, I talked to Kelly Price. She's fine. She's fine. And I'm like, you did all of this. I mean, maybe she did it for the attention. Maybe she did it because she knew they were going to do it. I felt like she was lying. You know what, Reese Cup? I felt like I know. Let me tell you something. I don't see my sister and my niece going to TMZ and everybody else saying my brother's missing if they didn't think I was missing. And that's why I don't believe Kelly Price. Because the sister and the daughter went looking for her. Who goes looking for you if they know you okay? Nobody in their right mind. Nobody in their right mind is gonna go looking for you and go to the extremes. The sister went on Larry Reed. The sister went on other uh social media platforms talking about Kelly Price, and she said, I don't never do this. I never do this. And I felt I would never do this. You got somebody who's always been in the background, never in the forefront, never trying to get the spotlight on them on these different social media platforms, trying to find you. And you want to sit and say she knew where you was the whole time. That makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So, I don't buy none of what Kelly Price is saying. I just think that what she hey Lisa, I think that what she did was a little messed up. But again, if you saw R&B Divas, I'm not surprised by it. I'm not, because that's the type of person she is. That's the type of person she portrayed herself to be on R&B Divas. Right, Lisa, it is. It's like crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy because you know she wants you to believe one thing. The sister and the daughter want you to believe one thing. And again, like I said, I believe the sister and the daughter. Nobody in their right mind is going to go to the extremes that they did to find you if they know where you were. It's just not going to happen. Some folks manipulate and they ain't never going to. Right, Yoga with Mo. Exactly. I think, well, you know what? With her, I just think that she didn't care. I think as long as she was just with her husband, she was okay. And, you know, that's all that mattered to her was him. So as long as he knew where she was fine. She didn't care about nobody else. I'll talk to them when I talk to them. They'll be all right. And I think they just surprised her when they did what they did. And she gagged. Like, oh, did they really put out a missing person on me? Did they really go to TMZ? Did they really? Because I don't think she thought they would do that. I don't think she thought that they would go to those extremes because they're not people that have been in the spotlight before. So I think that's what shocked her more than anything and made her mad is that they did that. And if what she said is true, that her and her sister hadn't spoken in a year, then her sister can hang it up because she's really not going to speak to her after this. She's not. Right. Especially when you have COVID. It's not the time for the games. When I know you in the hospital on a respirator, the next thing I know, they telling me you was discharged. You go home and they go to your house and nobody's there and nobody can find you. Come on now. Make that make sense. Like, make that make sense. Of course, I'm going to go looking for you. Of course, I'm going to try to find you. It's just the natural order of things. It's just what people do. So I don't, at first I was, at first I waited because I wanted to see like how it all was going to play out. I didn't think nothing happened to her. I didn't. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think nothing happened to her per se, but I didn't know. So I was like, let's see how this plays out. Let's see what really was really going to happen. And then when she said what she said and they said what they said, very weird. Who needs to be secretive about something like that? And you have folks like the brat chiming in. Right. Lisa, right? That's what I'm saying. The brat chimed in. She's mad at everybody else. Like when she chimed in, it was supposed to be okay. But again, just because you said you talked to her, don't mean you talked to her. It just means that you talked to somebody that sounded like her. So that's a little, suspect. So I'm waiting because according to the brat, who says she don't want to be part of it, there's more to the story that, and I forgot who the other woman was. There's another woman that has a podcast that I watched yesterday, and she claims she spoke to Kelly Price as well. And there's more to the story that they're not telling because it's not their place to tell. They're waiting, when Kelly's ready, they'll let her tell it, which is fair, which is true. Because if she's talking to you, it's not your business to put her business in the street. No, it's not. Let her tell it in her time. That is her story. Let her tell what she wants to tell. So I'm gonna be looking to see if and when, she decides to open up and tell her whatever more truth to the story there is. Um, I'm big on boundaries, but I even think Kelly went. Reese Cup, I agree. I'm big on boundaries too. And I don't blame her for leaving. Like I said, if people, just because I hung out, like I said, with a celebrity and I saw how they did them, like I even went to breakfast with Cyndi Lauper. But the thing with Cyndi Lauper was, if you don't see her the way people see her on TV, even Madonna. When I met Madonna, Madonna didn't look like Madonna on TV. So Madonna just looked like a normal, everyday white woman. So unless you really look at her, Madonna could walk right past you and you not know it was Madonna. And Cyndi Lauper the same thing. If Cyndi Lauper walked past you, we sat in a whole restaurant and had breakfast with her, and nobody knew who we were with because she looked just like a regular old white woman. Because without all that, glitz and glamour that she has on TV, especially back in the day with the purple and blue and pink hair, when she just has her regular blonde hair, she just looks like an average woman. And with Madonna, it was funny because they introduced me and they said, "This is Madonna." I said, "Madonna who?" And they was like, "Madonna." I said, "Vogue like a virgin Madonna? That ain't Madonna. That's just a regular old white woman." Because I was drunk as a skunk in the club. And they was like, and she was laughing. And because it was funny to me because that's not Madonna. I wanted the cone titties. I wanted the wild, you know, all the lace and the, you know, all the rubber band, the rubber bracelets and stuff like that. And that's not who she is when she's not performing. So some celebrities can come out in public and you really don't realize who they are. Because if they have a look on stage versus who they are after that, they can get away with it. But then somebody like Tisha Campbell, who looks exactly like she looks on TV, of course, you're going to know exactly who she is when you see her. So they claim the brat was upset because some people were telling too much of Kelly's business, but like Joseph said, she was there saying, right, Erica. The brat was, and well, the video I saw when she was mad was because I can't think of her name. Oh, I can't think of the girl, the lady's name. She was mad, especially when what the girl did was like, I spoke to Kelly Price and she's fine. And then she said, join me on my podcast tonight at 8 o'clock and I'll give you all more details. Now, the details she gave was basically exactly the same things I just said to y'all. She didn't say no more, no less than what I said. Well, because she was kind of in the middle of it, she gave a little bit more detail as to like giving her sister people to call and places to call that were private and things of that nature, and saying that the sister did it, she didn't do it, or the daughter called and she didn't call. But I'm like listening to this and I'm like, well, what is the brat's problem? But the brat's problem was because she said, I talked to Kelly Price and make sure y'all come to my podcast at 8 o'clock tonight and y'all will hear more. Because it was kind of like she was promoting her podcast. She made a video sitting in the car. So maybe she was uncomfortable with telling everything she did on her podcast in the car because she was driving. So I didn't understand the what the brat's problem was. So allegedly was that people was doing that, saying, "Oh, I talked to Kelly Price. Come join me on YouTube at 8 o'clock, and I'm gonna tell y'all the rest." Because they was like promoting themselves in the process of saying they spoke to Kelly. But you doing the same thing. You just going live, saying your piece, and getting off. Like you didn't do. I didn't hear anything. Niecy Gilbert, Niecy Gilbert. It was Niecy Gilbert, Lisa. Yeah, that's who it was. And it was I didn't understand it from the brat. Actually, I think she was mad because she just wanted to be the only one saying she spoke to Kelly and everybody else. And we don't need y'all to be saying y'all spoke to her, and people don't care. And that, but if people didn't care, they wouldn't be listening and watching these people if they didn't care. There's plenty of people out there that love Kelly Price, that love her music, that love what she do. So she's a celebrity just like you, meaning the brat. She's a celebrity just like her, and people want to know. So people are going to watch. And when you in this business of vlogging or blogging, either one, and people want to know, they're going to watch. They're going to watch. And the vloggers and the bloggers are going to use it to get you to watch. We'd be a fool not to. The whole thing is to get people to watch us. So, like, I don't know where she was coming from with that, because of course everybody is going to say, "Oh, I talked to Kelly Price. Join me at such and such a time on my channel," and da 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 da. Who's not going to do that? Especially if they really did. I mean, I didn't. There was never a charge of somebody not speaking to her that said they did. So if they spoke to her and they used it as a form to get people to come to their platform, what do you think they were going to do? What do you think they were going? That's the whole name of the game. You got an exclusive story, so tell it on your channel. Like it don't make sense. She don't make sense. But Reese Cup, I watched what Nikki said, or DC, however you pronounce it. I'm sorry, and she didn't say no more or no less than anybody else. She didn't put well, the part that I saw, because I didn't see the whole thing. So let's say that the part that I saw, she didn't put no more or no less than what people already knew out there, other than saying she never called the police, she never called TMZ. Other than that, she didn't put nothing else out more than what everybody else put out. So I was a little taken back because I'm like, well, it's not like she. I was waiting to see, like, did she say something personal? Did she expose something? Did she tell something she shouldn't have told? And she really didn't tell no more than what everybody already knew. What Kelly Price herself said. She didn't say no more, no less than that. But she's a celeb too, so people would take her word. Right. So I was like, I didn't understand why the brat was mad at her. Cause when I saw her little podcast, I was like, well, she didn't. What did she do wrong? Like, honestly, other than promoting her podcast and getting people to watch it, because of course people are gonna watch it because they're gonna know what she said. I'm like, what did she do wrong? Was there more to it that I didn't see? Because I watched it on somebody else's channel and they cut it off at a certain point. So I'm like, well, maybe she said something else afterwards that I didn't hear. But the person's whole purpose was to show that the brat was mad at her for what she said. So I'm like, well, it wouldn't make sense for them to cut it off without her saying what pissed the brat off. And I'm sitting there going, well, she didn't say nothing different than what we already know. So I'm a little confused. Like, it didn't make sense to me. The whole situation don't make sense to me, actually. Because I'm like, as much as I like my privacy, as much as I don't want people to know my business, I'm going to tell my family where I'm at. If I don't tell nobody else, I will tell my family. Like when I was moving to Maryland, I didn't tell nobody I was going down there for a job interview because I felt like if I don't get the job, I'm gonna feel stupid because it was the same job I had in New Jersey, and I had to re-interview for it down there. So I didn't tell nobody. The only person I told was my mom. I said, "Listen, I'm going to Maryland this weekend." I was like, "I have a job interview." I was like, "I'm telling you because you know I don't." This is what I'm telling you because God forbid if something happens to me, you know where I was, you know where I was going, you know where I'll be. And I had a cell phone or whatever at the time. So, she knew. I said, I just feel like you're my mother. I said, you're not going to feel any kind of way. And I'm not going to feel any kind of way if I don't get the job and, tell you, Ma, I didn't get the job. I was like, anybody else, I said, I'm going to feel stupid that I went to interview for a job that I couldn't get. So my mother was the only person that knew. My best friend tried to call me the whole time, and I refused to pick up the phone because I'm like, I'm going to tell him. I know my best friend. I'm going to tell him where I'm at and what I'm doing. I am going to tell him. So for me to avoid him by not answering the phone was my move to do because I said, well, if I don't talk to him, I can't tell him until after the fact. So, in the process, he called my mom and he asked her, was I okay? She was like, oh, no, he's fine. There's nothing wrong. He's okay. And she wouldn't tell him what I was doing because she knew what I told her. So after the fact, when I was on my way home, I called him. Hey, Uncle Fred. After the fact, on my way home, I called him and I told him, he was mad, but I told him why I didn't tell him what I was doing and why I didn't tell him where I was going. So I get it when it comes down to sometimes you just want to be private. Sometimes you just want things to be just for you. And when you're ready, you will tell people that you want to tell. And that's how it was in that situation. But somebody needed to know what was going on with me. Because actually, I was living with Uncle Fred at the time and I didn't even tell him. I left. And I told my mother. I didn't tell him. I didn't even tell him where I was going. All he knows is that I just packed the bag and left. And because I just didn't want to tell nobody because I felt I would feel stupid if I um interviewed for a job that I already had and didn't get it. Like in my mind, that didn't make sense to me, but it could happen. But the only person that I felt I wouldn't feel stupid if it happened knowing is my mom. So I get the whole wanting to be by yourself and not telling people what's going on, but at the same time, you got to tell somebody. And I mean, your husband is not the person to tell because he's with you. So he knows you're okay. So, and then when her daughter was looking for her, I'm like, well, damn, you didn't even tell your daughter? Like, that's a little jacked up. Like your own daughter, you don't even tell her. So that's why the whole thing was like out there for me. But again, and I'm going to keep saying this for y'all. If you saw her or RB Divas, all of this makes sense because she's that type of person. Like I said, unless she was just acting like that for TV, which wasn't a good look for her. If that was just I'm gonna be the black bitch on the show, then it wasn't a good look at all because people got a whole wrong version of who you was as a person. But if you saw R&B divas, this is very something up her alley. She don't care about nobody but Kelly Price. She don't give a damn about nobody but Kelly Price. And I think the only other two people that she probably cared about are dead. Her mama and her grandmama. Because I'm not going to say she didn't care about her mother and her grandmother. I'm not going to believe that. But I think the only two people that she cared about other than herself was her mama and her grandmama. And since they gone, she don't give a damn about nobody else. Clearly, if she did what she did. Right, her daughter was manipulated. Yeah, your child ain't got to be manipulated to want to know where their parent is. You saying your daughter was manipulated says that your daughter don't give a damn about you. I mean, if you really read into that, my daughter was manipulated. That means your daughter was manipulated into to feeling like you don't give a damn about her. How was she manipulated? Well, Kelly said she was manipulated because the daughter knew where she was. But at the same time, that speaks volumes of what you think about your daughter. That she could just be easily manipulated to follow the crowd. But at the same time, your daughter's saying the same thing that your sister's saying. She didn't know where you was, and she wanted to know where if her mother was okay. And that's the part that I don't understand why she's so mad at the fact that they just wanted to know that she was okay. That's what lets me know that the way she acted on R&B Divas was actually true. Because who gets mad at somebody that wanted to know that you okay? And they calling you, and you didn't even tell your husband to pick up the phone and say, I'm okay. So they reached out to the media because it wasn't just a day, it wasn't just 2 days, it was a month. You disappeared for a whole month, a whole month. Like, okay, a day, 2 days, I get it. That would be jumping the gun. Like, come on, girl. Come on. 2 days and you don't hear from me, child. Pull up your panties. I'm good. But a month, and you know I had COVID, child. In my mind, you dead somewhere, child. She done died. And if they knew the husband had COVID too, child, they both dead in the house. So I don't see why they wouldn't call the police to do a welfare check. You got the COVID, he got the COVID. Neither one of y'all picking up your damn phone. Of course, they dead in the house. That's what I'm gonna think. And then the police get there, ain't nobody there. Well, what the hell? And nowadays, y'all know, like I said, when it's just a husband and a wife, and they go missing, something 9 times out of 10, one of them did something to the other or planning on doing something to the other. Look at the Leary case. The Brian Leary man swore up and down he didn't do nothing to that girl, and then they found her dead, and now they can't find his ass at all. Which that's a whole nother story we gonna talk about on another day. Cause I'll tell y'all about that story if you don't know. But the only fact that we gonna talk about that if he was a black man and killed her, they would have found his ass by now. They ain't trying to find him because he white. And they don't care. Reaching up said, you think he burned her in the backyard? No. No, they would have smelt her burning. You can't burn the body and people don't smell it. It stinks. You can't burn a body and don't smell it. Right. He would have never disappeared. First of all, they wouldn't have believed him when he said he didn't do nothing. They held him just because she disappeared. But that's a whole nother story. Oh, y'all. I'm kind of sad that my personal trainer ain't coming back. Well, personal trainer. My physical therapist ain't coming back. Today was the last day. When she left, she said, I love you, Joseph. I was like, oh my God, I love you too. She was cool. I liked her. I liked her a lot. She was so impressed with me. She was like, I'm just so impressed. You keep making every day, every time I come, you just getting better and better and better and better. It just amazes me. But she was real. Both of them was. I had a physical therapist and I had occupational. I think that's what she's called, occupational therapist. Her sessions were very short because everything she did for me was like I could do. Like she got me the walker, she got me the shower chair. I had a shower chair, but she didn't like the one I had, so she got me a different one. And basically, when she did those and she saw that I could use them both, she was like, "Well, you don't need me no more." And I fractured my tibia nunca, but I didn't actually, thank God, have to have surgery. They told me the fracture wasn't bad where I needed surgery, so I was able to just let it heal on its own. And it's actually healing like 10 times faster than what they thought. So, and like she said today, once I go to the doctor on the 19th, if they give me something for the swelling, because that's really the only thing preventing my leg from moving 100%. Because she was like, you moving it 90%, but like the only thing preventing it from moving 100% is that my knee is still swollen. And the swelling is like, it was huge when it first happened, but now it's just at like a medium state and the swelling will not go down. So I know that the doctor can give me something or like a shot or do something to get the swelling down. So when I go to the doctor on the 19th, hopefully that's what they'll do. Because other than that, that's the only thing honestly preventing me from moving my leg 100%. And today, um, she had me walking around the house, and honestly, I can walk without the walker. Um, she doesn't want me to yet. She would rather me get a cane and use a cane. And I had a cane. I don't know where it is. We might have left it in the other house when we moved by accident because I did have a cane. That's how I taught myself how to walk after I had the stroke, with the cane. But um, she said I could use a cane now because I can. My leg is not shaking anymore, and I could actually walk without the walker. But she doesn't want me to, just in case. So she said, like I went in the kitchen with her. She made me walk from my bedroom to the kitchen, and I was in the kitchen and I was walking around, and I was actually walking without the walker. And she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so." She was like, "I remember when I first came and you couldn't even move, and that was only weeks ago." So, oh, definitely, Brenda, definitely. Nunca, you know what? My diet is okay. I'm gonna say it's excellent, but I, in the process of all of this happening, lost 30 pounds. So I think that's when the doctor saw me, I was 30 pounds bigger. And in the process of being in the hospital and coming home, I lost 30 pounds. So I think that's another thing that did it, was that I'm not as heavy as I was when I first went to the hospital. So my knee can actually support the weight that I am now. But as far as my diet, it definitely can be tweaked. I'm not even gonna lie. It can definitely. And I was taking sea moss, and that's crazy because I had just started taking sea moss. Just started. I had just ordered about a jar of sea moss. It came, and I was taking it, and then bang, I fell, and then that happened. I haven't taken it since I've been home, but I am going to start taking it again because I do like the way it was making me feel, and I do like the difference I was feeling. So I'm sure in the process of taking the sea moss, that has something to do with it as well. Because I know sea moss is good for joints and joint pain. So and matter of fact, I got to order. I probably should just order some more, actually. some more sea moss. But it was that was great. Yes, y'all. Well, Nunca, you know what? This sea moss goes in the fridge, and it was flavored. I don't think I could try the one that's not flavored. I had a strawberry flavored sea moss. I know they have pineapple, strawberry, dragon fruit, mango. I ordered the strawberry one, and it was actually. I'm not gonna lie. It was like when it's in the fridge and it's cold. It was more like the consistency. Right, you right. Well, no, I'm not gonna say snot. It was more like the consistency of a pudding, and just the two spoons because it tasted like strawberry. It wasn't bad. I don't know how people do sea moss with no flavor because, like you said, that would make me throw up. I just because I know the consistency and it not having any flavor to it would make me throw up. I'm not even going to lie. But the one that I brought, it was very good. It had flavor of strawberry, and you're supposed to keep it in the fridge. And by it being in the fridge, it was cold, so it more had a consistency of like Jello, or not even Jello, but pudding. It had the consistency of a pudding, so it wasn't like nasty to me. Because at first I said, well, let me taste it, and then if it's like nasty, I'll make like a smoothie or something. Because on the back of the jar, it had a recipe for a smoothie. So I said, well, you know, I'll make the smoothie if I don't. But the consistency, like you said, I'm not gonna say it was like snot. It was, but it was more like a pudding, and because it was cold, it wasn't like I did it when I first got like when I first opened the jar and. When it came the first day, I opened the jar and I said, "Let me taste it." And I was like, "Ugh," because it was hot. It was already sitting on my porch for like maybe an hour at most. And I was like, oh no. And when I saw it said refrigerate, I said, okay, I'll give it a try tomorrow after it's cold. Because sometimes things taste different when they cold versus when they hot. And I ain't gonna lie, it was the consistency was even different, more different when it was cold than when it was hot. I'll give you that. It was like snot. When it was cold, it had more of a consistency of pudding, and the strawberry. The only thing that really saves it is the flavor. So, like if you like pineapple or mango or dragon fruit or strawberry or banana, that's what saves it with the sea moss because the flavor. And it's not nasty. It's not a nasty strawberry. It's like a really good strawberry flavor. So that's what. And by it being cold, that saves it. That saves it. Yeah, sweet tea cup. I eat it straight because it said take it 2 spoonfuls a day. So I just take the 2 spoonfuls and I'm done because it's not. It really is not nasty. I promise you, if it was nasty, I wouldn't take it. But my cousin told me about this place where she gets it from, where she orders it online, and I was like, Val, is it good? I said because I've seen people do sea moss and it just look. She's like, no, 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 get a flavored one. Don't get the raw one. Get one with flavor in it. I've only done the ones with flavor. I was like, right. I said, because the raw one, I done seen people eat that, and I'm like, ugh, how are they eating that? It just look nasty. But when it's cold, when it's in the fridge and it's cold and they have a flavor to it, honestly, it's just like going in the jar eating some pudding, and it's not because it when it's cold, it has a consistency of pudding, and because it has flavor, it's not that slimy, nasty, you know. Pour oil, frozen fruit, wild berry, sea moss, black seed oil. Why did you throw it out, Nunca? Well, the black seed oil, I tried that and I couldn't do that because it kept giving me acid reflux horribly. Oh my god, the black seed oil just the acid reflux was horrible from that. The acid reflux was horrible. I couldn't do the black seed oil because it just god, the acid I suffered so bad. I tried. I really tried with the black seed oil, but The way it gave me like indigestion and acid reflux, I was like, I can't do this. I can't. I had to. I agree. I threw the whole bottle away. I was like, I can't. And I started Tramiel taking it, and he had the same problem, the acid reflux. And I was like, how do people take this? I was like, I can't do it. I was like, if it's happening to me and you, it has to be happening to other people, and they just suffering through it. I was like, but I can't. I can't. I just couldn't. The acid was too much for me. It was horrible. As soon as I laid down, it all just came back in my chest. I was like, oh God, this is like, oh, it was horrible. It was horrible. Now, oregano oil, that's really good. But child, that is so nasty. Oh, it is disgusting. Elderberry is good too. Now I love me some elderberry. Either the elderberry juice or the elderberry pills. The juice, everybody tells me is better than the pills, but the elderberry juice, child, you could get it because it's sweet. It's like just sweet. So just taking two spoonfuls, you be like, "Oh, I want some more." So I got elderberry pills, and because I'll pop a pill, I ain't got a problem with popping a pill. I don't have a problem with popping a pill. Well, y'all, I am going to get ready to get out of here. I actually I've done most of what I need. Well, I did say I was going to wash clothes today. I'm going to try. I'm trying to get back into my daily routine. I'm trying to get back into my daily routine of what I used to do. So I told Tramel, because he got a bag of clothes downstairs, that I'm going to try. There's this elderberry and echinacea tea I drink every time I feel like I'm getting a cold. You know what? Echinacea is good too. Thank you for your encouraging words. Attention, God is with you. Nunca, you're welcome. Let me. You can do anything you want to do if you put your mind to it. Trust me when I tell you. I used to be 330 pounds, and I just put my mind to it. And one day I woke up, and I was just like, I don't know. I just had this overwhelming feeling that came over me, and said, if you don't lose weight, you're gonna die. And I went on Instagram. I knew about Herbalife. I didn't know. I knew about Herbalife. I had tried it before, and honestly, it worked when I made it work for me. But then that day, I searched out people on Instagram that tagged Herbalife. And I was like, no, I don't want nobody that look like a model right now. I want somebody that started out looking like me and don't look like me no more. And I found this dude, his name was Greg. And I looked at him and I said, wait a minute, that's impossible. I know this fat boy don't look like this now. So I hit him up. And he was very nice and he showed me before and after pictures of him. And I said, well, you look like me, meaning body wise. And I started doing it. It was expensive, I'm not gonna lie. I started doing it. And in like 4 months, I lost 90 pounds. And I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I didn't think this was going to work. And I just put in the work. I had no choice but to put in the work because this is what I wanted to do. So I put in the work and made it happen for myself. And that's what you have to do. At the end of the day, it's a hard journey. It is a hard journey to go on. Because what people don't understand, when you try to lose weight, people say, oh, you can do it. Da, 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 da. And what they don't understand is when you want to stop an alcoholic from drinking, you can put them in rehab because they don't need to drink. When you want to stop a drug addict from doing drugs, you put them in rehab because they don't have to do drugs. But when you want to lose weight, you have to eat to live. That's the hard part. That's where it becomes a problem. Because if you knew how to eat, you wouldn't be in the situation you are now. And it's hard to all of a sudden say, I'm going to change my mindset and I'm going to eat this way and you do it for a couple of days, and in your mind you should be losing tons of weight, and you get on the scale and either it's the same weight, or you didn't drop nothing, or you drop 15 pounds and then say, oh, I could go to Popeyes because I lost 15 pounds. And people don't understand that. And maybe I will do a video on that, because that's the part people don't understand. People don't understand what goes through our mind when we are trying to lose weight. And a lot of us gain weight for various reasons. Like, I realize when I'm in pain, I don't want to eat. When I'm in pain, I have absolutely no appetite. They were trying to force me to eat when I was in the hospital. It was so bad. One of my friends called me and cashed at me $40 and said, "You better tell the nurse to go get you some order DoorDash and tell the nurse to get it for you," because I was in so much pain. I did not. I wasn't even hungry, which taught me something about myself, because I've never been in that much pain before, and it taught me. And I know, because I've been through, child. I done everything possible to lose weight, and the one thing that always stuck with me that I learned was, find out what causes you to eat. And when I saw that when I was in pain, I didn't want to eat, I was like, okay, this is something new I learned. I never knew that if I was in pain, I would completely lose my appetite. I know and when I'm happy, I don't eat. It's when I'm unhappy, it's when I'm sad, or when I'm bored. When I'm bored, child, I will raid the refrigerator and try to find everything in the house to eat. Or when I'm bored, when I'm unhappy, I just want to eat. But when I'm happy and I'm in a lot of pain, I can go all day without eating. So you got to learn your eating, and then you need to learn when you're most hungry. Some people are more hungry in the morning. Some people are more like me. I can go without breakfast and I can go without dinner. But at lunchtime, around 12 to between 12 and any time after that, I am starving. That's when I have to eat. So that's when I learn. That's when I eat my biggest meal, when I'm my most hungry. Some people are starving when they wake up. So breakfast should be their biggest meal. Or some people realize they can go all day without eating. So dinner should be their biggest meal, which dinner shouldn't be your biggest meal, because you're going to turn around and go to bed. But if during the day you only eating fruit, like a couple of pieces of fruit for breakfast, a salad for lunch, and then you decide to come home and have this big dinner, it's not going to kill you. You have to learn when you are your most hungry. And those little tips, and I'm just giving you tips that worked for me. When I figured those things out, those things worked for me. And it was made it easy for me to say, I'm going to go on a diet, because I knew as long as I kept myself happy, you're not going to be happy all the time. But the one thing I had control over was being bored. So I had to keep myself from being bored. I don't want to be in pain. So I'm not going to put myself in pain. And as long as I'm not bored, and as long as I'm just try to keep myself as happy as possible, I'm not gonna overeat. I'm not gonna just look for stuff to eat when I don't have to. So, right, and right, trust me, I get it, but it's making you high for a reason. It's making you high when you're bored, or it's making you high when you're happy, or it's making you high if you're depressed. Those are the things you have to identify. When is the food making you high? I agree with the food making you high, especially if you eat chocolate, because chocolate was designed. It has something in it to literally make you high. Not high like drugs, but give you a physical high. So you have to identify when you're most hungry. What feeling are you feeling when you want to eat? People, you're not just eating all day just to eat. Yeah, I don't. Nobody is just eating just to eat. It's just not true. You're eating for a reason. You're eating either because you're depressed, because you're happy, because you're sad, because it doesn't always have to be something bad. You can be happy and just decide, I want to eat a whole 10-course meal, because it, like you said, it makes you high, and that's what keeps you there, on that high that you're feeling, on that happiness that you're feeling. So that's what you have to identify, and then you kind of have to be like, okay, I'm hungry, but I'm not as hungry as this. or I just ate, so I'm not going to eat right now. Maybe I'll eat a little bit now and a little bit later, and break it down that way. I think that I am going to make a video on this because I could go on this all day long. I really can. Because I've been there. I've been through this. I have been 330 pounds with a 56-inch waist wearing a 5X shirt. And people be like, what? I'm like, yes, child. When I was 19 years old, my waist was a 56 and I wore a 5X shirt. And it's a hard struggle, but it was a struggle that either it was going to take me over or I was going to take it over. And I'm just persistent, and I just refuse to let anything encompass me like that. I refuse to let anything just take over me. I don't like things to have, I want to be in control. And that's over everything in my life. I don't want food to control me. I don't want a drug to control me. I don't want pain to control me. I don't want nothing I want to be in control. So when I see something has more control over me than myself, than me, I have to fix that. I have to make that's a problem for me. And I'm just a control freak like that. I'm not going to ever allow anything to have that much control over me where I can't control it. So for me, when I see things are getting out of control, I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. It's time to fix this. And I will do what I have to do to fix it. And I think that is I might do a series on that on here for you guys because it's something that needs to be had. It's something a lot of people don't think about. People just think they eat because they eat, and I just don't have self control and blah. And that's not true. None of that is true. You do have self control. You can control it. You just need to know how to control it. I'm not a doctor, and the information that I give will be just information that stuff and tips that help me, that hopefully can help somebody else. And right, 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 Nunca. I agree. Like a part of me this summer, but I knew, well, I didn't know what was wrong, why I was gaining so much weight. But when I hurt my knee, I found out, and I was thankful that in the long run that I did fall. But I wanted to go to amusement park so bad. But in my mind, I'm not going to fit in the rides. I'm not going to be embarrassed. I'm not going to sit up there and they tell me, oh, well, we can't close the ride because it happened before. It's happened to me before. And it's so embarrassing sitting on the ride and they like standing there trying to clamp you into this thing, or they clamp you and then you like, let me out because I don't want this to pop open while I ride. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And nobody wants to be embarrassed. Or you go to a buffet and everybody's sitting there looking at you just to see how much you're going to eat. That's embarrassing. Nobody wants that. And people don't understand that. But at the same time, we can't help it because we don't know how to help it. We don't know how to control it because if we could, we would. And that's the part people don't get. But y'all, like I said, I am. Thank you, Nunca, for giving me an idea. And please make sure you watch. I'm going to do my weight loss series. I am. This is a very good idea on helping people lose weight with just special little tips and tricks. But I need to go now, and I need to get my day started. Do they have a branded relationship? Her and her daughter. Well, according to her, their relationship was good, but according to the daughter, it's a strained relationship. Okay, definitely, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. But I definitely am going to teach it because people like you are me. You know what I'm saying? I've been where you are at right now, and I know probably how you feel because I felt the same way. And trust me when I tell you, it is no greater feeling than to be able to walk in the store and pick up anything you want because you can fit anything in the store. That is the best feeling in the world. Even though in your mind, you like, this ain't going to fit me. This ain't going to fit me. Because in your mind, you're still big and you really ain't going to know what size you are. And the first time going from a 56 waist, and I went in there, I had to keep passing the person pants saying, these are too big, these are too big. And I stopped At a 36, when I was a 56, I almost passed the hell out. I ain't even gonna lie. I almost passed the hell out. And when it came down to a shirt, I said, just give me an extra large. Cause I was just on it. Then I'm like, oh well hell. If I can wear 36 pants, pass me an extra large. And I fit the extra large perfectly because I'm like built where I'm bigger up top than the bottom. And really, I could have brought a large. But I brought the extra large. And when I tell you that is the greatest feeling in the world, it is the greatest feeling in the world when you normally could not go in any store you want and buy clothes because you know they don't have your size, to be able now to just go in any store and buy whatever you want. That is the greatest feeling in the world. And I'll tell you, when you get there, don't go broke buying clothes. Cause you gonna want all the money you were spending on food, you're gonna want to spend on clothes because now you can trust me. Trust me on that. So y'all, please follow us on all social media platforms. You know what they are: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, right here on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to be a king or queen at our round table, hit that join button. If you don't see the join button, just go in the description box. The link to join our channel is right there. Also, make sure you check out the TheMKingz boutique for everything TheMKingz and Dare to Be Different. We have a host of new shirts and new items in there for you guys and all of that good stuff. If you want to support the channel, as you see scrolling across the screen, our Cash App is down there, the TheMKingz. Any donation you make to our platform, we put back into the platform just for you guys so we can keep uploading and giving you better content. I just haven't been behind the green screen yet, but I will be behind the green screen probably sooner than later because now I can get up and get over there as opposed to before when I was in the bed. But you'll see me back with my background sooner than later. With that being said, you know how I end every show. You know how we end every show. And you're probably saying it with me as I say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Walk in love, peace, sunshine, and happiness. And always remember, it's what? Team McRae all damn day. Later, y'all.